Hey, all you experts out there, this is the Monetize Your Expertise podcast, where we show you how to use your skills to pay the bills. Have you ever wanted to create a business that positions you as the industry leader and go-to expert? Join me every week to hear from amazing leaders and entrepreneurs who have successfully refined their skills in order to become experts and create extremely profitable knowledge businesses. To find all of the links and tools mentioned in this episode, just go to myepodcast.com. I'm your host, Grant Weherley, the online course guy, helping you every week to monetize your expertise. Hey, and welcome back to the Monetize Your Expertise podcast. Today I've got a little mini episode for you, sharing with you 3.5 simple hacks to grow your email list. And the reason I wanted to make an episode about this is this is actually a question I get quite a bit. I know a lot of you experts out there don't really have an audience to start with. You might be an offline expert, maybe you're starting out and just building your brand. Not having an email list can be quite a significant challenge. And if you don't already have an audience, how do you find one? How do you create one in order to sell things to them, to create value for them? So today I've got 3.5 very simple things that I've found that worked really well for me, because I've actually grew my email list several times over the past couple months by doing some pretty cool experiments that worked quite well. I plan on making a more in-depth case study later, but here are some of the lessons learned. So one of the most important things that I did that I found extremely effective was, number one, first and foremost, making my homepage a landing page. And this is kind of, I feel like it should be obvious, but it's a very unusual thing to do. I've seen some other brands do this, and this is actually where I got the idea, is I saw some other websites that were doing this really, really effectively. And so I tested it out. I basically restructured my homepage. Instead of being sort of like the front face of a blog, I made it like a landing page that directs people to very specific places that I really, really, really want them to go, and I make it hard to not go to those places. So if you want to see exactly what this looks like, you can go to grantweherley.com. Have fun spelling my name. You can also go to myepodcast.com, which goes to grantweherley.com/podcast, and you can get to grantweherley.com from there. But you can see my homepage. It does a really effective job. It converts quite well to directing people to different offers that I have for them. Because I find when you direct people straight to a blog or maybe a podcast page, people kind of just don't really have a clear direction about where they're supposed to go. But if you make a homepage, a landing page, again, landing pages are supposed to direct you in a very specific direction. So I've got a couple different things that they can click on that are all things I really want them to do. And it's not just clicking on some random blog post. It's going to get something in exchange for an email, to sign up for something. It's trying to engage them right off the bat at a high level. So I found that to be very, very effective, and it's one of my key strategies recently in dramatically growing my email list. The second thing that I did a couple months ago, actually, I started an email list from scratch, probably about 4 months ago. And I ran an experiment where I posted in very specific Facebook groups with a very simple message just to see how it worked, to see how many emails I could get, how many subscribers I could get from scratch. And basically all I did was say, hey guys, I'm putting together some free content on this topic. Just message me or leave a comment if you're interested. I'll message you and tell you how to get on the listserv for it. Basically, the reason I did this is because if you go into Facebook groups and you post a link to an opt-in or a landing page, people aren't very happy about that. It just seems very spammy. People complain a lot. But what was interesting is I think I did this in like 20 different Facebook groups, and only one very small group that was like very internet marketing oriented, only one person in one very small group complained a little bit, but whatever, it's fine. 1 out of 20 is not bad. So I had a very clear targeted idea about what people wanted to learn about. I just said, hey, I'm going to put together some free content about this, let me know. And then being able to engage people on a personal level and get their email address by them very volunteer, very on a volunteer basis, messaging, like it's not just sort of a behind the scenes, behind your computer kind of opt-in. It was a lot more personable. So that was pretty interesting as well. So very, very simple. All I did was have them message me or leave a comment, and then I messaged them, got their email address, and said, hey, I'm going to send you this free content when I put it together. And it was really great. It worked really, really well. I think I got like 120 emails or something in about 48 hours. So it's a very, very effective strategy. And the funny thing is it's so simple, right? It doesn't have to be super complicated. List growth hack number 3. So one thing that I think it's easy to forget about is that if you use pretty much any email provider, they have a vacation autoresponder. Now, you might remember this when you go on vacation, but it's actually quite handy when you want to promote things, because all you have to do is turn that vacation autoresponder on and say something like, hey, sorry, I might be slow responding to my email messages recently because I'm working on this product launch, and you link to whatever you're trying to promote, or whatever topic that you're really focused on. It actually could be a landing page, right? You can link to the start of a funnel, and it's just this automatic traffic source of all the people who are emailing you anyways. They're automatically going to check out what you're putting together. So a very, very small thing, but again, if you get a lot of emails, it can make quite a big difference. And especially because people who are contacting you personally are definitely interested in you and your brand. You know, if you get random emails from customer inquiries or something, they're obviously very interested in what you're doing. Personal contacts are always a lot more likely to opt in to email lists. So it's a lot more effective for that reason as well. And finally, and this is why this is 3.5, this is sort of like a cheat, is one of the simplest hacks to grow your email list is actually to use somebody else's email list. And this can or can't actually end up growing your list as well, depending on how you do it. For example, you can have a partner mail out for you on your behalf in order to promote something. Depending on how you do that, it may or may not capture their email for you. But just recently, I think it was a month ago, I had a friend who has about, 16, 20 something thousand people on an email list that he doesn't use very often. I had him mail out for me for a webinar, and I put it together for him. We agreed to split revenue 50-50, anything that was generated from the webinar, and all of the people who opted in to the webinar are now on my list. And so it's a really effective way to, jumpstart like your marketing, right? If you can find just a couple people to do that, then all of a sudden your opt-in page, you're getting a ton of traffic, and you might be getting in front of 100,000 people very, very quickly, which is difficult to do on your own in many cases. So I know some of you guys may not have friends or family or business contacts who have massive email lists, but the good news is you actually don't have to, because to use my friend as an example, he actually was asking me, like, okay, who else can I get to do this? Because I don't have a lot of products to offer my audience. I'm looking for more quality products to offer them. So I think a lot of people who actually create and grow these types of communities of large email lists or large online forums or massive Facebook groups, a lot of times they are kind of looking for some way to monetize it, because they got this big thing and they don't always know what to do with it. Some of them already have a lot of products that they already have made and are trying to sell, but a lot of them are just kind of sitting there. And if you can approach them, and it's very easy to do, just approach the owners of large Facebook groups, large Facebook pages, LinkedIn groups, approach them and position it in a way that very much helps them. Like, hey, I want to create some free content for your audience. It does lead into a product that I think they would actually find very valuable. I'm willing to split that with you. But at the very least, they'll get free content, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. Everybody wins. And so it's a really great way to tap into a large audience. And especially if you do something like a webinar, it's a great way to provide free content while also getting a bunch of email opt-ins, because they have to opt in for the webinar. So it's a great situation all around. So those are 3.5 simple hacks to grow your email list very, very quickly. And thanks for listening. And I hope you stick around till next week. Hey, entrepreneurs and experts, I just wanted to thank you for listening to this episode, and I hope you learned at least one new big idea that helps you evolve your skills and gets you closer to monetizing your expertise and creating that successful knowledge business. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on iTunes and Stitcher, and check out myepodcast.com for all episodes as well as the tips and tricks mentioned in this episode. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.